Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 216 based on novel. So let's start. The black thunder carried with it the might of the heavens and landed on the fragment. There was a loud explosion that echoed across the fragment and a huge crack appeared. In the depths of the crack was Wang Lin, who had just opened his eyes. The thunder directly descended and smashed into Wang Lin at a crazy speed. Bang! Wang Lin's body trembled violently. The thunder rushed into his body and swept through his body like a storm. However, it was quickly affected by the blood and power from the mysterious old man. The three powers used Wang Lin's body as a battleground. The battle caused a loud roar, and in the end, it turned into a large amount of origin energy that surrounded him. His origin soul rapidly devoured the origin energy and quickly grew. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light. He had awakened. Especially when he was hit by this bolt of thunder, he had awakened completely. Divine retribution, Wang Lin sucked in a breath of cold air. He still remembered the divine retribution from back in the demon spirit land. Now that he was facing it again, his eyes shined brightly. The moment he awakened, he noticed the chaos inside his body. Without the divine retribution, his body would have exploded first. This divine retribution came at the right time. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. This was the first time he was glad at the arrival of the divine retribution. His right hand pressed against the ground and he sprang into the air without any hesitation. The celestial sword beside him immediately screamed, "Master! Master, take me with you. I want to go back inside the bag of holding. This place is terrifying." As Wang Lin flew up, he waved his right hand. The celestial sword flew toward him and was put away inside his bag. The celestial mountain was put away as well. At the moment he charged out from the fragment, all of the clouds around the fragment began to boil. Under this violent movement, a divine retribution more intense than the one from the demon spirit land appeared. Under this heaven's might, Wang Lin felt like there was a giant hand pressing down upon him from the sky. Popping sounds came from inside his body. At the same time, 4 bolts of black thunder gathered from the above, below, right, and left of the fragment and quickly descended. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. He opened his arms and didn't even try to dodge. The thunder from above descended and landed on his body. Shortly after, the thunder from the left and right sides quickly closed in. Finally, the thunder from under the fragment came. It had penetrated through the fragment and also landed on Wang Lin. The 4 rays of black thunder surged like crazy through Wang Lin's body. They collided with the blood body and the power from the mysterious old man once more. The collision this time was unprecedentedly intense, as if a real storm had broken inside Wang Lin's body. The 3 powers released large amounts of origin energy. This origin energy was too powerful. Under the impact, Wang Lin couldn't help but let out a loud roar. His aura increased like crazy. As his origin soul devoured the origin energy, it completed an important process of transitioning from the peak of the late stage of ascendant to the illusory yin stage. What is an origin soul? If one's cultivation hasn't reached the illusory yin stage and goes through this important process, the so-called origin soul is, in fact, fake. A real origin soul can devour origin energy and gain new life from origin energy. The ancient cultivators cultivated qi. This qi was origin energy. Once this origin energy has been cultivated long enough, it will form the origin soul. The cultivators now had this step backwards. Only by reaching the second step could the cultivators nowadays catch up to the ancient cultivators. At this moment, powerful origin energy surged into his origin soul, causing Wang Lin's origin soul to change like crazy. His origin soul was taking the crucial step toward the next step. Peak of the late stage of ascendant, broken through. At the moment of breakthrough, Wang Lin seemed to feel his own Tao. It was as if everything in the world had become crystal clear. A laughter came from his mouth. This laughter pierced through the clouds and continued to spread to the outside world. The blood ancestor was watching the clouds, hoping Wang Lin would be killed by the divine retribution. However, after hearing this laughter, his expression changed. Illusory Yin, the blood ancestor's expression became gloomy, and he muttered, "It seems that half my blood body contained enough origin energy for him to temporarily resist the divine retribution and reach the illusory Yin stage. But just this is still." As he spoke, his expression changed once more, and he stared at the churning clouds before him. "It's still climbing." Wang Lin had never felt as comfortable as now. All of the celestial spiritual energy inside his body was rapidly disappearing and was being replaced by the origin energy surging out from his origin soul. The clouds around him seemed to become angry, and the might of heaven inside transformed into thunder. Inside the clouds, 8 bolts of black thunder formed and fell on Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin laughed like crazy as his origin soul charged out from his body. His origin soul was no longer human-shaped, it had taken the shape of the ancient thunder dragon. As the 8 bolts of black thunder descended, his ancient thunder dragon origin soul devoured them. He devoured 8 bolts of black thunder consecutively and returned back into his body before releasing them. The blood body and the old man's power exploded once more, and in exchange, he obtained even more origin energy. Wang Lin's cultivation level rose like crazy once more under the impact of the origin energy that was released. His illusory Yin cultivation had stabilized and began pushing toward the peak of the illusory Yin stage. The illusory Yin and corporeal Yang stages were the transition between the first and second step of cultivation. This was meant to be a perfect balance of Yin and Yang. The illusory Yin stage was the change in the origin soul, while the corporeal Yang stage was all the celestial spiritual energy dissipating and being replaced by origin energy. This process was called origin transformation. It was to change a cultivator into an existence like ancient cultivators. After the ancient cultivators disappeared and the celestial realm collapsed, very few people have broken through 2 realms when entering the Yin and Yang stage, but all those that did had amazing achievements afterward and stood at the peak of the second step. Even the All-Seer spent 300 years to pass through these 2 realms. Ling Qian, who spent 800 years, and the Blood Ancestor spent almost 1,000 years. This had nothing to do with talent. The biggest reason was origin energy. At this moment, Wang Lin was constantly advancing toward that direction. The divine retribution was like nutrients, and the blood body and power from the old man were the origin energy fueling this process. The blood ancestor stared at the clouds before him, and the killing intent inside his eyes became even stronger. "I came to kill him, but instead I gave him great fortune. I won't accept this." Above the fragment inside the clouds, Wang Lin raised his head. His eyes were clear and contained a hint of expectation. Thunderous roars came from the cloud as a 7-colored bolt of thunder quickly condensed. Wang Lin had never hoped for the divine retribution to descend like today. He looked at the 7-colored thunder condensing inside the clouds. From all the divine retribution he had experienced, this was the first time he had seen a 7-colored thunderbolt. 7-colored clouds quickly gathered, and they contained powerful heaven's might. Under the pressure, crackling sounds came from the fragment under Wang Lin. The edges of the fragment collapsed once more. Its size was rapidly changing, but the more it shrank, the more terrifying its durability became. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly and large amounts of origin energy surged through his body. Not only did his heart pound rapidly, but the vibration from his origin soul made the origin energy inside his body cycle even faster. A powerful feeling appeared inside Wang Lin's heart. He never had such control of this feeling before. Wang Lin raised his right hand and formed a fist. He was finally experiencing the feeling of coldly looking down on the world after gaining control of the power of the world. He could clearly feel his own cultivation breaking through the limit of the first step of cultivation. He had broken through the peak of the late stage of ascendant and reached the illusory Yin stage. Divine retribution, be a bit more aggressive. Wang Lin's expression was ferocious as he looked at the sky. At this moment, the 7-colored thunderbolt rapidly condensed and released a ray of 7-colored light. It released a strange sound and then suddenly descended. That sound was like a demonic sound that could affect one's heart. Countless familiar figures appeared around Wang Lin, but his eyes were still calm. The 7-colored thunderbolt descended with a thunderous roar. It was as if it wanted to destroy everything in its path as it descended toward Wang Lin like crazy from the sky. In an instant, the thunder landed on his body. An earth-shattering roar echoed across the fragment and replaced everything. When the power of thunder entered his body, Wang Lin was immediately knocked into the ground. His body was pressed deep into the ground. The blood, body and power from the old man rapidly disintegrated as they fought with the power of divine retribution. Come again. Wang Lin's body rushed into the air. Thunder traveled through his whole body and his hair moved without any wind. The current him was like a celestial demon. The might of the heavens can't be resisted. At this moment, all of the clouds around the fragment became enraged. The clouds churned and 7-colored thunderbolts fell like rain toward Wang Lin. Even the fragment was engulfed by this thunder shower. The thunderous roar was the only sound left. At this moment it was as if Wang Lin was in thunder hell, as 7-colored thunder was everywhere. The fragment shattered even more until there were only about 10,000 feet left. It was as if Wang Lin was inside the heaven's furnace as bolts of thunder continued to fall on him. Many cracks appeared all over Wang Lin's body and quickly spread. At the same time, the blood body that entered his body had completely collapsed and was releasing untold amounts of origin energy inside Wang Lin's origin soul. That powerful feeling once again appeared inside Wang Lin's body. He could clearly feel his cultivation beginning to climb once more. From stabilized illusory yin to the peak of the illusory yin stage, and it was still climbing. It was becoming infinitely close to the corporeal yang stage. Still missing a bit. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The blood ancestor's blood body had collapsed and no longer existed. However, there was still a lot of energy from the mysterious old man. Wang Lin had a feeling that if he didn't get rid of this, it would have great impact on his body. His eyes were filled with decisiveness. His cultivation path was filled with danger. Wealth can only be obtained if one takes risk. Right now there was only one path to take. Wang Lin charged into the air and shot toward the cloud in the sky like an arrow. This was Wang Lin's first time actively counterattacking. He wasn't passively suffering the divine retribution but attacking it. He rushed directly into the cloud, opened his arms, and mercilessly inhaled. At this moment, a roar came from the clouds that came infinitely close to the roar of a beast. In an instant, all of the clouds gathered and all of the thunder within landed on Wang Lin like crazy. Wang Lin laughed like crazy as his origin soul spread out and covered his body to absorb the thunder. The energy left by the old man quickly moved through his origin soul, and under the endless bombardment of thunder, it released a large amount of origin energy. This was a chance, the greatest opportunity Wang Lin had since he started cultivating, other than, of course, the chance to see the third step. His cultivation level climbed like crazy without end as he devoured the clouds. At this moment, Wang Lin forgot about the clouds and the energy from the old man. He opened his mouth and devoured large mouthfuls of clouds. As he continued to absorb them, the clouds gradually shrank and were no longer dense. They became thin enough that even the blood ancestor was able to clearly see Wang Lin. The blood ancestor sucked in a breath of cold air as he stared at Wang Lin. Seeing that Wang Lin was actually swallowing the clouds, he could hardly believe his eyes and muttered, "Madman. This Wang Lin is a madman. No one would dare to take the initiative to divine retribution. I can't let him continue." The blood ancestor's eyes lit up and he immediately rushed forth. After being weakened so much, he was only at the peak of the corporeal yang stage, one step from the nirvana scrya stage. However, he was confident it was more than enough to kill Wang Lin. He turned into a blood shadow and headed straight toward Wang Lin within the clouds. At this moment inside the clouds, Wang Lin suddenly felt a sense of crisis coming toward him. His eyes turned cold and immediately saw the blood shadow heading toward him through the clouds. Blood ancestor. Wang Lin sneered as he retreated back into the clouds. The blood ancestor revealed a gloomy expression outside clouds and clenched his teeth before charging in. The moment he entered, he felt the power of the heavens' might. He didn't have an ancient thunder dragon origin soul like Wang Lin and his cultivation was greatly weakened. When facing this divine retribution, he had a feeling of awe. However, no feeling right now could beat the urge of him wanting to kill Wang Lin. He let out a cold snort as he charged forward. A moment later, he saw Wang Lin get struck by countless bolts of thunder within the clouds. It was as if he had seen an illusion. The moment he saw Wang Lin, he felt like he didn't see a person but a thunder dragon. As Wang Lin stared at the incoming blood ancestor, he lifted his hand and chopped down. The heavenly chop immediately shot out and the blood ancestor's right hand formed a seal, creating a blood shadow. The blood shadow charged out and collided with the heavenly chop before immediately collapsing. The blood ancestor frowned and sighed. If his cultivation level hadn't dropped, then the blood shadow would not collapse like it did. He was about to use another spell when he saw Wang Lin retreat into the clouds once more. Wang Lin also used heavenly chops without a care at the cost of origin energy. At this moment, Wang Lin had too much origin energy inside his body. The heavenly chops were like blades of law that shot through the clouds toward the blood ancestor. The blood ancestor let out a cold snort and his hand formed a seal. There was a flash of blood light that created runes and then they all collapsed in a flash. This actually made all the clouds around him back up 10 feet. Wang Lin's eyes were calm as he hid inside the clouds and quickly retreated. At the same time, he devoured large amounts of clouds, causing countless bolts of thunder to enter his body. The energy from the old man was rapidly dissipating. The blood ancestor locked onto Wang Lin as he charged forth. 2 balls of blood formed in his hand and then he charged straight at Wang Lin. He wanted to end this as quickly as possible. He had a feeling of crisis inside these clouds, and the longer it lasted, the more he feared a mishap would occur. If he wasn't inside the divine retribution clouds, then the blood ancestor's goal wouldn't be difficult to achieve, as his cultivation level was still higher. However, inside this divine retribution cloud, it would be very difficult to kill Wang Lin. Wang Lin's thunder origin soul was like a fish in water. The energy from the mysterious old man was negating all the thunder entering his body. And on top of all that, there was also the powerful surge of origin energy inside his body. All of this allowed him to do as he wished inside these clouds. Facing the blood ancestor's chase, Wang Lin moved through the clouds as he constantly absorbed thunder and devoured clouds. The clouds gradually grew smaller. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's body suddenly trembled. The energy from the old man had completely dissipated, so there was no more chaos inside his body, only origin energy. Under the impact of the powerful origin energy, Wang Lin's cultivation level increased like crazy. In an instant, he broke through the peak of the illusory yin stage and entered the corporeal yang stage. This didn't end here. As the origin energy was absorbed by his origin soul and all the celestial spiritual energy disappeared from his body, his cultivation level increased once more. He went from just entering the corporeal yang stage to becoming stabilized in it. The change in Wang Lin's body caused the blood ancestor's expression to change greatly. He even felt his scalp tingle a bit. I can't let him continue. If I let him continue, he might even reach the early stage of Nirvana Scrya. The blood ancestor's eyes were bloodshot. When he was watching the divine retribution, he had adjusted his body and had now formed flesh. An even more powerful feeling than before filled Wang Lin's body. His eyes lit up like a torch and he felt like he had control over the world. He took a deep breath as the blood ancestor closed in. He then placed his finger between his eyebrows, allowing his origin soul to charge out. His body fell from the clouds but was guided by a spell. After his body landed, it immediately sat down to cultivate. After charging out from his body, Wang Lin's origin soul turned into an ancient thunder dragon more than 1,000 feet long. He looked extremely shocking within the divine retribution clouds. Blood ancestor, since you delivered yourself to me, then you might as well grant my wish. The ancient thunder dragon was born from thunder. It was currently flickering within the divine retribution clouds. Its thoughts were echoing in the area like thunder. The blood ancestor's eyes suddenly widened. At the moment Wang Lin's origin soul moved, all of the clouds whistled and the might of the divine retribution spread. Shortly after, Wang Lin's ancient thunder dragon origin soul appeared from the clouds with countless bolts of thunder following closely after. You courting death? The blood ancestor's expression was gloomy as he quickly retreated. He threw the two balls of blood in his hand and shouted, "Blood explosion!" With a bang, the balls of blood exploded and a powerful force spread. Wang Lin's ancient thunder dragon origin soul immediately dissipated. However, the blood ancestor didn't relax at all and became even more cautious. Countless bolts of thunder formed where Wang Lin's origin soul disappeared. They rained down on the blood ancestor like crazy from all directions. "You want to obtain my blood body? You overestimate yourself." The blood ancestor's eyes narrowed as his hand formed a seal and bloodlight covered his body. The rain of thunder didn't rush into the bloodlight but circled around it. The blood ancestor was startled. His expression changed when he realized that something was wrong, but it was too late. The divine retribution thunder that was chasing after Wang Lin now descended like crazy toward the blood ancestor. Wang Lin. The blood ancestor clenched his teeth as the blood light flashed brightly and immediately pushed Wang Lin's origin soul back. However, during this process, the divine retribution thunderbolts continued to fall. They went through Wang Lin's origin soul and directly landed on the blood ancestor. He quickly retreated and wanted to leave this divine retribution cloud. "Senior blood ancestor, your blood planet has been destroyed, and even your concubine, Zixin, has died after betraying you." Wang Lin's divine sense echoed, which caused the blood ancestor's expression to become even more gloomy. "Also, your blood pavilion is quite interesting." Wang Lin's voice came from the void. "You were here killing me, but I wonder if you know that when your daughter Yao Shishua goes back to the blood planet, she will be like a sheep walking into the tiger's jaws." Ever since Wang Lin first saw blood ancestor after waking up, he had not seen a trace of Yao Shishua. It was impossible to protect her from the collapse of the storage space. Wang Lin deduced that the most likely scenario was that Yao Shishua had already been resurrected with the help of the blood ancestor. Wang Lin's words were like an invisible divine retribution that landed in the blood ancestor's heart. His origin soul was also damaged from before, so under this unstable state, he was shocked. Yao Shishua was his weakness. Wang Lin. As the blood ancestor's mind trembled, the blood light around him began to flicker, showing signs of instability. A laughter echoed, and then the void where Wang Lin's origin soul was located immediately turned into countless bolts of thunder. The thunder charged toward the blood ancestor from all directions like crazy. They penetrated the blood-colored light and directly went into the blood ancestor's body. At this moment, the divine retribution descended like crazy, and there were even 7 colored thunderbolts mixed in. The blood ancestor's origin soul let out a mad roar and wanted to rush out. However, Wang Lin's origin soul was now inside his body, and it had started a life and death battle. The two of them battled with the blood ancestor's body as the battlefield. Originally, the blood ancestor's origin soul wasn't his weak. However, he had half of his origin soul taken by the mysterious old man. Then he encountered Wang Lin and was seriously injured again. But even after all this, his origin soul was still stronger than Wang Lin's. However, Wang Lin's origin soul was filled with origin energy and he had just reached the corporeal yang stage. But the most important part was that Wang Lin wasn't trying to take over the blood ancestor's body. He was only focused on entangling the blood ancestor to prevent the blood ancestor from leaving the clouds. This allowed him to put up an even fight. The blood ancestor had to die. If this person didn't die, then the person who would die was him. Wang Lin understood this very well, and that was why he was willing to keep the blood ancestor within the clouds at all costs, to kill him using the power of the divine retribution. However, the divine retribution was about to dissipate and it was not as strong as before. However, every bolt of thunder that fell on the blood ancestor made him shiver. Half of the divine retribution's tyrannical force would damage him and the other half would be absorbed by Wang Lin. The rumbling thunder continued to descend and the clouds quickly dissipated. A devastating power began to form inside the dissipating clouds. As the last bolt of thunder formed, it immediately sucked in all the remaining clouds and descended with a bang. This was the last wrath from the heavens, and this attack was going to kill. The crisis of death immediately filled the blood ancestor. He was being entangled by Wang Lin's origin soul and couldn't run at all. He made a ruthless decision as he bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Blood seal. The blood quickly formed a huge seal that fell on his body like a net. The moment the net fell, there was a flash of red light from between the blood ancestor's eyebrows. His origin soul charged out and in a flash appeared outside the clouds. Wang Lin, I give up this blood body. You won't be able to escape with the seal, so withstand the divine retribution yourself. He was filled with unimaginable hatred as he rushed out, but he didn't look back as he quickly felled. This time he was in an extremely miserable state. He was missing more than half of his origin soul and had lost his body. If he didn't escape now with his broken origin soul and if Wang Lin didn't die, the consequences would be unimaginable. He even felt regret. If he had agreed to Wang Lin's promise, he could have saved Yao Shishue and not be in such a sorry state. However, right now it was too late. Wang Lin's origin soul was locked inside the blood ancestor's body by the blood seal, but he didn't want to escape. His origin soul became active as the divine retribution landed. The thunderous rumbling quickly spread across the area. The blood seal was broken and the blood ancestor's body was in pieces. Wang Lin's origin soul was forced out, then he turned into an ancient thunder dragon and roared at the sky. The cloud completely dissipated and the divine retribution disappeared. Wang Lin's origin soul took the blood ancestor's body back to the fragment. This fragment was now only about 1,000 feet wide. It no longer looked like a fragment, it was more like a large stamp. When his origin energy returned to his body, his eyes opened and a powerful aura swelled within his body. He took a deep breath and put away the blood body. At the same time, he looked down at the stamp below him. His eyes lit up and he hit the ground with his hand. The fragment immediately trembled, then it began to shrink until it was the size of a grain of sand and was devoured by Wang Lin. He then flew off into the void while laughing. At this moment, Wang Lin was at the corporeal yang stage. Although he was not at the peak, he was not far off. His body was filled with origin energy, but most of it hadn't been absorbed. Once he absorbs it, he will immediately be at the peak of the corporeal yang stage and be infinitely closer to becoming a real second-step cultivator. Aside from a limited few people, no one else was a match for Wang Lin in the Thunder Celestial Realm. The current him, with his spells and magical treasures, like this Celestial Realm fragment and the Beast Tones, even though he might not be able to win when he encounters someone who has just entered the second step, he would be qualified to fight. The pressure from escaping from the Alliance star system to the All-Heaven star system disappeared completely. Wang Lin's divine sense spread out and he quickly went toward where the blood ancestor ran off to. Exterminate the root to leave no trouble in the future. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. His corporeal yang cultivation activated and his speed was several times faster than before. He was like a meteor charging through the void. A powerful sense of self-confidence appeared on his heart. This kind of confidence didn't have much to do with his cultivation, this was a confidence from someone who was a heaven-defying cultivator. It turns out that even powerful cultivators like the Blood Ancestor, the All-Seer, Ling Qianhu, and other are not invincible. Wang Lin's gaze was firm and he revealed a sneer. Even the All-Seer could not have imagined that his disciple from a semi-wasted planet would have forced the Blood Ancestor into such a state due to a series of opportunities. However, someone has probably been helping me. Otherwise, the Blood Ancestor wouldn't have been as weak as he was when I found him. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. This doubt still existed in his heart. At this moment on a fragment in front of Wang Lin, Li Yuan was escaping with a pale expression. His right arm was gone and blood was seeping out of it. There were many sword wounds on his body, the most shocking one being the one on his stomach. Even his origin soul was injured and showing signs of collapse. If not for his family's spells, he would have already died. A death aura filled Li Yuan's body. He revealed a bitter smile and an unwilling expression. He wanted to fight back, but the other party had an ancient mirror that broke restrictions. He had also helped Wang Lin and had used his heart restriction, and it still hadn't recovered. Unless he could create some distance, he couldn't hide himself in a short period of time. Only a family that have inheritances from the celestial realm can have an ancient mirror that can break restrictions. If my Li family was still powerful, these people would be mere clowns, but now. Alas, Brother Shu, I won't be able to complete my promise of giving you the restriction heart. This is not my wish. Cousin, this person sure has a lot of treasures, and they are very powerful. I very much like this celestial sword. Behind Li Yuan were 3 people casually chasing him. Among the 3 people were 2 men and 1 woman. The woman was very beautiful and her eyes contained an alluring charm. She was currently holding one of the celestial swords that Li Yuan got from the celestial storage space. The 2 males were 1 young and 1 old. The younger one smiled as he looked at her and calmly said, "This person still has 8 more. Since junior sister Xia likes them, once I take them and ask where he got them, I'll gift them all to you." This person's cultivation was also at the peak of the late stage of ascendant, but the old man's was not simple. If Wang Lin was here, he would immediately be able to tell that this old man was at the peak of the illusory yin stage. This video will end here.